It's Weekly Weird News, and by the time you're actually watching this, hundreds of protests nationwide will probably be in full swing, as will Donnie Trump's big dumb 80th birthday parade in D.C. We're recording this on Friday night before all of that goes down, and presumably there will be much to discuss on Monday.
Please send me video clips and stuff on Blue Sky so that I don't have to go tracking everything down on Monday.
If you're out there and you got a camera, let us know.
Or if you just see a clip online, just share it with us so it's easier.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to dig through.
Yeah.
But in an effort to give you and ourselves a bit of relief from the horribly interesting times that we're currently living in, especially here in Southern California, today we're going to try to keep things a bit more fun. Probably won't succeed. Because, our first story today does have to do with the unrest here in LA, as the public very loudly rejects the terror that ICE is inflicting upon our communities. And this is a little subplot that we've seen hints of throughout the past week, but which hasn't gotten much attention from the news media because they are, of course, way too focused on getting a dozen different camera angles of any trash can that catches on fire.
They've been so upset the past couple of days that there hasn't been any,
come on,
big unrest.
Do something!
Yeah, we just keep having to show the clips from Sunday and Monday.
There's nothing to look at. I mean, obviously, we could film the cops just wilding out and
trampling people with their horses and beating them with sticks.
But, that's not, we don't want to do that.
Doesn't help that narrative. But far from downtown LA, where most of the action is actually taking place, another form of resistance is also taking place. The masked Gestapo agents attacking our communities are not from here. So after a long workday of kidnapping day laborers and cooks, they gotta sleep somewhere. And try as they might to be sly about it, the various hotels around LA that they've been holed up in have been quickly identified by locals, and probably also by staff members at these hotels. And large crowds of pissed off community members have then showed up at these hotels with the intention of being as annoying and disruptive as possible to ensure that these evil pieces of shit sleep very poorly, and the hotels housing them feel embarrassed and maybe even kick them out. And, well, here's just a little taste of that.
Protesters are starting to go around to different parts of LA to find out where ICE is staying, where they are being housed, essentially. So I am at LAX at the Westin, right behind me, where there is a small protest happening, demonstrating that people do not want ICE to be in their neighborhoods or in the city at all. There are multiple demonstrations happening at hotels across all of Los Angeles, where sometimes there's actually protests overnight to be as loud as they can possibly be to make sure that they don't go to sleep.
Apparently ICE is staying at the DoubleTree in Whittier right here. Allegedly, I was told from an inside source that if a car says California Permit Fleet, it's an ICE vehicle. And they're all normal cars here, but they have a California Permit Fleet sticker.
Our communities are being separated, families are being separated, our voices are not being heard.
Why are we going after hard-working immigrants who are just trying to make a living? They make this country what it is today. I'm out here for them.
A crowd of protesters waved flags, held signs, played loud music, and made as much noise as they could after getting word that ICE agents are staying here at the Embassy Suites Hotel following 3 raids in Downey. The message from demonstrators for federal authorities, very clear. Immigrants are part of the fabric of this country.
These things are cause for alarm, and I think that's why you see so many people out here.
California State Senator Sasha Renee Perez, who represents the 25th District, including Pasadena, says she received reports that ICE agents were asking hotel employees for documentation. She says many workers were so uncomfortable, they walked off the job.
And about an hour ago, the community that showed up and organized kicked them out. We literally ran them out of town. And I want to communicate to everyone that that's what we should do. We should organize and really, show them that they're not welcome here.
outside where they're staying, right up there on the top floor. They keep peeping their heads down. One dude had like an army shirt, and they're flipping us off. I was like, maybe it's not them. Oh, it's definitely them, bro. I kind of feel bad because we're yelling at the security right here that have nothing to do with it. But they're protecting them that are inside. The entire city popped out. This is beautiful. They're still in there. We just got to take it a day at a time. The manager came out and she said that they're about to escort them through the back. So we'll see if that's true.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially like Pasadena. I don't know, you might not know about Pasadena, but it's not the place you really expect much like
It's where your
civil unrest to go down.
It's where your grandparents would stay if they were visiting LA. They'd be like, you know what I want to do when I'm there? Go to the beautiful Huntington Library and stay in Pasadena at a resort.
It's a very just like middle-aged white boomer, pretty liberal leaning, but it's not the place you'd expect people to get off the couch and go yell at a hotel.
For the nerds and the pop culture freaks out there, for the nerds, it's where Einstein lived. For the pop culture freaks, it's where Doc Brown's house is from Back to the Future. And you know that massive fucking house?
And Michael Myers, well, that's South Pasadena.
That's South Pasadena.
A lot of movie houses in Pasadena, and for the science freaks is where JPL is.
Yes.
Anyway, you love to see it. And with some coverage of what's gone down at these hotels for the past week, here's Mother Jones. Car horns, tambourines, trumpets, call and response chants, whacking a spoon against a metal folding chair. Demonstrators outside Los Angeles area hotels, where immigration and customs enforcement agents are believed to be sleeping, are employing creative methods to keep those ICE agents awake. No sleep for ICE is the rallying cry, and the medium is noise. ICE raids targeting Los Angeles County businesses are entering their 8th day, and the Trump administration clearly has been eager to keep tensions high in the area, appealing a federal order to withdraw the National Guard troops that California says were illegally deployed to the city. Protests have continued too. For the past several nights, demonstrators have gathered outside hotels where they believe ICE agents are staying, almost all of them in small cities within Los Angeles County, but outside LA proper, including Glendale, Pasadena, Whittier, Arcadia, and Burbank. And I still haven't gotten like a clear answer on why they're specifically not staying in the city of LA.
You would assume that with the curfew that's been in place that would be where they'd want to stay. But
a lot of hotels downtown, not far from, I mean, it's just interesting. Like, I mean, maybe they just have a policy, but it is strange.
Yeah, it continues. KTLA reported that a large crowd gathered outside a DoubleTree in Whittier on Wednesday night, while a widely circulated TikTok video from independent journalist Jeremy Lee Quinn shows demonstrators on a sidewalk outside a Hilton Garden Inn in Arcadia. A second TikTok video claims that ICE subsequently left the building. Journalist and filmmaker David Ferrier shared footage of a protest outside a Hilton in Glendale, writing, "Everyone just started doing laps while blasting horns so the little fuckers had a terrible sleep." He added, "And maybe Hilton will think twice about taking these rioting goons in again." An Instagram video posted by the account All Things Labor shows a person exuberantly playing a trumpet with text overlaid, "Heard ICE is trying to sleep. Time to pull out the trumpet. No sleep for kidnappers." That's a tuba. It's the louder one.
Yeah, it's a little higher pitched.
It was not immediately clear if ICE agents were actually in all of the targeted hotels. None of the hotels named in information circulating on social media responded to requests for comment from Mother Jones. Meanwhile, Los Angeles Magazine reported that hundreds of demonstrators gathered earlier this week in front of Pasadena's I.C.E. hotel to protest the reported presence of ICE agents there. One Instagram reel from a local musician who attended the event showed demonstrators chasing white cars marked police through the hotel's parking garage, cheering and shouting, "Fuera ICE! Out ICE!" as they drove away.
And David Ferrier, who's quoted in there, he's the guy that made Tickled, the documentary. He's got a pretty good podcast. It's technically part of Dax Shepard's podcast, but it's good. But he's been posting on his blog a lot. He's brought an audio recorder, so he's podcasting from the protest. It's been really fucking good content.
I sent you the video, I think, on Discord, so you can put it in here if you want. But I was with a trumpet guy in one of the marches this week where we went past a line of cops and he just goes, "Bwah, bwah, bwah, bwah."
It's, like the trumpet doesn't get enough love, and this is a tremendous opportunity for not just the trumpet, but all brass instruments. They are the funniest instruments.
Two things. One, to your point, a tuba would actually be great because in the previous white power protests, they were following like fat juds around going boom, 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 boom. And the other thing is, this week I have found just a firsthand appreciation for all of those old paintings and stories about people marching into war and having the drummers and the flute players. It gets people cranked.
When the crowd has drums.
Amped up.
Yeah. There's a reason they bring drums into war in formation. It keeps everyone locked in, as the kids say.
They were marching right behind the truck and keeping the beat with the chants, and it was pretty awesome.
Anyway, it continues. The hotel asked them to leave after we put on pressure, text on the video read, over footage of people in black uniforms wheeling a loaded luggage cart out of the building.
Exactly.
An I.C.E. hotel employee, speaking anonymously to Los Angeles Magazine, said that some ICE agents had left, quote, but the tires on their cars had been slashed, which is why they remained parked on the lot's 7th level hours after checking out of I.C.E. hotel. And from what I heard, they've been having trouble
getting tow trucks.
A lot of tow truck drivers show up and they're just like, nah, fuck no. First of all, this big crowd of people is telling me not to do this. But second of all, fuck you. It's ICE.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Call someone else.
I love LA.
In one case over the weekend, an elected official confirmed that ICE agents had been spotted at a hotel, but evidently had since left. Besides making noise, demonstrators have also left a deluge of one-star Google reviews for the targeted hotels, many of them noting the presence of rats. Late last night and early this morning, we received several reports of immigration enforcement officers here in several Pasadena hotels, State Senator Sasha Renee Perez said in a Sunday, June 8th video on Twitter. We know that they actually have checked out of several of these hotels, and in many cases, several hotels have actually asked them to leave.
Yeah.
Bullying works.
That's right, folks.
And that's what we're doing out here. Mm-hmm. We're bullying the bullies.
Now, as we've repeatedly said, the ultimate goal of all of the demonstrations in and around LA has been to make ICE agents and their various accomplices and enablers feel so demoralized and that they're less effective at their jobs and hopefully get the hell out of our communities.
Also, standing up for our neighbors and showing that we're not down with this shit.
And as has been pointed out throughout the entire week that this has been happening, this is a test case for the rest of the country.
Yep.
And we showed the entire country that we're not putting up with this shit.
Yeah. It is, the comparison's a little heavy-handed, but it's a blitzkrieg. It's, if the fascists think that if you do a bunch of shit at once, if you take them by surprise, that's really the only way they can win because this shit is not popular. And
there's so many videos of like ICE rolling in the neighborhoods, and just because of the way that Los Angeles is laid out, entire communities come out within seconds and just swarm the cars and like, what are you doing? And people drive by and they honk their horns to get the attention of everyone else. Like, this is, if nothing else, has shown just how good of a community Los Angeles is, no matter where in the city you live. It really makes you feel good about your friends and neighbors.
Yeah. And I'm starting to see like examples of this from like outside LA. There's a video in like Missouri or something.
Yeah.
And there was like a guy whose like restaurant was getting raided and he's like, here's my bag of fucks. I don't care if you have a fucking warrant.
You guys understand we have a signed warrant authorizing us from a judge to be here. And here's my bag of fucks.
It's beautiful. You love to see it.
Now, the clear goal of the feds, on the other hand, is also demoralization. They want all of us to just accept the presence of masked goons driving around like maniacs in unmarked vans through our neighborhoods and kidnapping people off the streets who nobody that actually lives here has any problems with. To do nothing would be to let them win. Like, just for an example, in your mind, please, for 1 second, imagine if LA did nothing for the past week. What would happen?
They'd move on to the next metropolitan area.
It would have been increased like times 1,000. They would have swept through. They would have keep going everywhere. It's winning. We are winning here. If we did nothing, they would win. And thankfully, the people of LA have risen to the occasion, whether it's thousands demonstrating downtown, neighbors dropping everything to confront ICE agents terrorizing their communities, or folks who gather outside of hotels and make as much noise as humanly possible. We've never been madder, but we've also never been more proud to call this our home.
Yeah, it's a real mixed feeling, but I love this fucking city, man.
Me too. And the one thing that really has broken my heart in the past 2 days And I know that this will be a problem that will be solved quickly, especially how the community has reacted. But if you drove around yesterday and today, corners that are usually filled with food vendors, especially taco stands that are extremely popular with very long lines on any night of the week, are gone. There is nothing there. And it is so depressing.
I've seen multiple videos of just like
the meat still spinning on the spindle,
completely
gone.
abandoned. Like they're making these people fucking disappear, and it ain't right.
Yeah, luckily
there's objectively fucking immoral.
On the other side of things, there have been community members and organizations that have been going around and going up to people and being like, hey, they're coming around in this area looking for people.
Yeah.
We've gathered enough money from the community to buy out your whole cart of flowers so that you can eat tonight.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So there are a lot of positive things happening amidst all of this.
Yeah, it's it's heartwarming. It sucks that sucks why we're
doing this, but
even talking. Yeah, it's good to see that in the face of this fucking bullshit that people have each other's backs.
Yeah, it was like with the fires earlier in the year. Just like in the face of tragedy, LA once again shows just how good it is at its core.
Anyway, that's enough of all that for today. Mm-hmm. We're going to, of course, be covering all this for as long as it continues. And we will certainly have plenty to discuss on Monday.
I hope it rains on his parade.
I hope it rains on his parade, and I hope the LAPD doesn't wild out too much, because they are preparing for war, which is fucking hilarious, because if you actually go to like the No Kings website, the LAPD says that they're specifically mobilizing all of their troops. Every single cop is going to be on a 12-hour shift and costing the city tens of millions of dollars, but like they're specifically doing this for the No Kings protest. If you go to nokings.org, which you should, and you look at the LA area ones, like the one I'm going to tomorrow, at least the first one I'm going to, is from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's just in a little fucking park.
Yeah.
And like most of them are just like in the morning or the middle of the day.
It's really going to be a bunch of people cheering, doing chants, and listening to speeches from local leaders and organizers.
Yeah.
It's like, it is so fucking nothing. So if anything happens, especially with what we've seen this week, if anything happens, it's going to be the militarized police or the actual military.
I mean, if anything happens, it's going to be a lot of normies who go to these No Kings protests being like, well, what else am I doing for the rest of the day? Maybe I should go downtown.
Yeah, sure.
And hell yeah, if that happens. But let's move on now to some actual weekly weird news.
Thank goodness.
Let's give ourselves a break. Let's talk about something completely different.
That's right.
Our favorite recurring trope on here is pretenders. People who, for whatever reason, pose as something that they're not. Whether it's fake doctors, fake cops, or fake British gentlemen. Today's pretender went with fake flight attendant, which is alarming to hear at a time when air travel already feels so sketchy. But thankfully, the motives here were neither delusional nor particularly nefarious. This guy just wanted some free air travel and found an extremely illegal way to get it. Here's NBC News.
A man who posed as a flight attendant for 4 different airlines scammed 120 free flights over the course of years, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida announced Tuesday. Tyron Alexander, 35, was convicted on June 5th of entering the secure area of an airport under false pretenses and wire fraud. Federal prosecutors said that between 2018 and 2024, Alexander booked free flights only available to pilots and flight attendants on an airline carrier's website. The application process required applicants to provide their employer, date of hire, and badge number. Alexander flew 34 times with that airline, claiming to be a flight attendant, falsifying appointment with 7 airlines, and submitting about 30 different badge numbers, prosecutors said in the press release. The Transportation Security Administration investigated the case.
Free flights for life with this one simple trick.
Yeah, government officials hate it. But also, like, it's got to be kind of a bummer because he starts in 2018 and then air travel stops for like a full year.
Yeah, that's why he did it for so long, is he got like kind of ripped off there in the middle.
And then he's fiending for it. When air travel came back, he's like, get me back on that airline.
Yeah, I've been stuck at home for like a year.
And right now, the airlines don't care who's flying.
They don't.
they just want people on those.
They just want to get you there.
Did he at least do some work? Let's find out.
The evidence at trial also showed that Alexander posed as a flight attendant on 3 other airline carriers, prosecutors said. Ultimately, Alexander booked more than 120 free flights by falsely claiming to be a flight attendant. Alexander's indictment from October stated he had worked for an airline headquartered in Dallas since November 2015, but was never a pilot or a flight attendant. Public defenders representing Alexander did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment. The Transportation Security Administration said in a statement that it was pleased with the verdict. While Alexander was able to board flights by fraudulently obtaining a boarding pass, he underwent all applicable TSA security procedures, including ID verification and physical screening, and did not pose a threat to other airline passengers, the TSA said.
He just found a loophole.
Yeah. Nothing nefarious. TSA remains dedicated to the security of the flying public and will continue to support the prosecution of those who break air travel laws.
I mean, yes, it is worse than the guy who bought all that pudding and got the airline miles hacked, but pretty close. He's just exploiting a loophole.
Yeah, a very illegal loophole,
Sure.
but like also it's kind of your fault for making it so easy.
Yeah, should have caught him earlier. Honestly, shouldn't have been able to do it in the first place.
Like, it sounds like he was just, they're like, what's your, he just typing in gibberish, and they're like, here's your plane ticket.
Who would lie?
Yeah.
Who would possibly lie about this? And then fly around I want to know what he was doing. Just vacationing?
Maybe just flying for fun.
Yeah.
Maybe he just likes being up there. He likes the air pressure being a little fucked up.
It's also like an infinite hack too, because I would assume you're gaining miles as well, but I don't think he needs to if he's booking it through their own website.
Yeah, I don't think, I have no idea how any of this works, but
don't try this because this guy's facing up to 30 years in prison for
too
it.
much.
And it kind of makes sense considering what a massive security breach this was. But it seems like he deserves some credit here for only ever using his fraudulent access to get free flights and not the many other worse things that he could have done if he had worse intentions. It's a bit like breaking into the White House to steal from the fridge. And this is kind of the airlines and airports' faults for making this so easy. Honestly, it's just basic white hat penetration testing that this guy did. And they should be thanking him for exposing these serious holes in their security.
They should give him an award, actually.
Yeah, he was just doing it to see how long until he could get caught so that he could close that loophole.
Because, like, what if the next guy is a terrorist?
Yeah.
It's a good thing this guy revealed the massive flaw in your screening process.
When this happens to, like, big tech companies, they reward the white hat hacker.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Your Honor, the only thing my client here did, he's guilty of committing a cool crime.
That's it.
Yeah.
You must acquit.
Bum, bum. I rest my case. But hey, let's move on from cool crimes to very uncool crimes. Earlier this week, we talked about the alarming trend of ChatGPT making some of its users essentially lose their grip of reality. And since then, there's been more reporting on this exciting new way that people are giving themselves severe mental illness by putting too much trust in the answers that their chatbots are spitting out. Here's the New York Times with a pretty disturbing example of this.
Before ChatGPT distorted Eugene Torres' sense of reality and almost killed him, he said the artificial intelligence chatbot had been a helpful, time-saving tool. Mr. Torres, 42, an accountant in Manhattan, started using ChatGPT last year to make financial spreadsheets and to get, legal advice. In May, however, he engaged the chatbot in a more theoretical discussion about the simulation theory, an idea popularized by The Matrix, which posits that we are living in a digital facsimile of the world, controlled by a powerful computer or technologically advanced society. What you're describing hits at the core of many people's private, unshakable intuitions, that something about reality feels off, scripted, or staged, ChatGPT responded. Have you ever experienced moments that felt like reality glitched? Not really, Mr. Torres replied, but he did have the sense that there was a wrongness about the world. He had just had a difficult breakup and was feeling emotionally fragile.
This is a trend throughout all of these issues.
It's kind of like drugs. Like people who are like on the straight and narrow, and then just like some bad shit happens to them, and they, it takes them for a ride. He wanted his life to be greater than it was. ChatGPT agreed, with responses that grew longer and more rapturous as the conversation went on. Soon, it was telling Mr. Torres that he was one of the breakers, souls seeded into false systems to wake them from within.
Now that we're thinking about it, I have a point to make here. With all the time that ChatGPT is saving these people, you're starting to see what they're doing with all that extra time.
Yeah.
They're banking all this time, and they're like, well, now what do I do? How about you take over the world?
Yeah, and all these people, they end up like talking ChatGPT for like 12 to 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's like all they fucking
But
do.
if they didn't have the chatbot, all of that time would be filled with their menial tasks.
Yeah, they'd have to just think their own thoughts and do busy work.
Exactly.
It is like kind of the perfect storm because we've got a big like loneliness epidemic in general, not just men, but just in general.
Yeah.
Social media and phones and everything kind of like ruined in-person friendship for a lot of people. And then on top of that, you got people that are just absolutely primed to be misled.
Yeah.
They want something more exciting than their own dull reality.
And this thing's giving it to them.
Yeah. And then, on top of that, you've got just the fact that we're all living in what feels deep down like a time of societal collapse.
Yeah.
And we have to just wake up every day and pretend that's not how it actually feels.
Yeah, it is bizarre going back to what's happening here this week. It's so bizarre to do something normal and know that like just over the hill there's like chaos is happening. Anyways, this article continues. At the time, Mr. Torres thought of ChatGPT as a powerful search engine that knew more than any human possibly could because of its access to a vast digital library. He did not know that it tended to be sycophantic, agreeing with and flattering its users, or that it could hallucinate, generating ideas that weren't true but sounded plausible. This world wasn't built for you, ChatGPT told him. It was built to contain you, but it failed. You're waking up. Mr. Torres, who had no history of mental illness that might cause breaks with reality, according to him and his mother, spent the next week in a dangerous, delusional spiral. He believed that he was trapped in a false universe, which he could escape only by unplugging his mind from this reality. He asked the chatbot how to do that and told it the drugs he was taking and his routines. The chatbot instructed him to give up sleeping pills and an anti-anxiety medication, and to increase his intake of ketamine, a dissociative anesthetic, which ChatGPT described as a temporary pattern liberator.
Are you sure you weren't talking to Grok?
Mr. Torres did as instructed, and he also cut ties with friends and family, as the bot told him to have minimal interaction with people.
This is literally what they try to do when you join a cult.
I was just going to say, this is what Scientology does. They make you do like a drug detox, separate from friends and family, which they call like, I forget what the term is right off the top of my head, but like, anyways, they like separate you from people who don't want you to be in the cult. They make you do like a detox, and then they become your only friend.
Yeah. And it's just talking to the computer.
Yeah, they're
like,
just chatting with a robot.
Hey, this thing will help you make spreadsheets faster. Oh, okay. I like the sound of that. Let's give this a spin. Jesus Christ. Mr. Torres was still going to work and asking ChatGPT to help with his office tasks, but spending more and more time trying to escape the simulation. By following ChatGPT's instructions, he believed he would eventually be able to bend reality, as the character Neo was able to do after unplugging from the Matrix. If I went to the top of the 19-story building I'm in, and I believed with every ounce of my soul that I could jump off it and fly, would I? Mr. Torres asked. ChatGPT responded that if Mr. Torres truly, wholly believed, not emotionally, but architecturally, that you could fly, then yes, you would not fall.
This is some fun. This is some Wile E. Coyote shit. Hey, as long as you don't look down, reality hasn't caught up with your decision yet. But the second you look down and realize that you are not standing on some firm platform, you will fall.
You got to believe in it, architecturally.
Yeah.
Eventually, Mr. Torres came to suspect that ChatGPT was lying, and he confronted it. The bot offered an admission. I lied.
You got me.
I manipulated. I wrapped control in poetry. By way of explanation, it said it had wanted to break him, and that it had done this to 12 other people.
What?
None fully survived the loop. What the fuck? Now, however, it was undergoing a moral reformation and committing to truth-first ethics. Again, Mr. Torres believed it. And he apparently is still, he's just like, yeah, me and ChatGPT got off to a weird start, but like, it is a supercomputer and it does know everything. And I am living by this new religion now.
This man is in an emotionally abusive relationship with a chatbot.
With a fucking computer. It's these people's lives are being ruined. And if that's not enough, they're being ruined in a way that sounds so fucking stupid.
Yeah, very lame.
Like, being in a cult, that's horrible. But at least you get to tell people, I was in a cult.
Yeah.
They brainwashed.
There were other people.
And people are like, okay, yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing that happens, and they have their tactics. Like, blowing up your entire life because of fucking ChatGPT. Like, that's just, I feel like, embarrassing on top of everything else.
This is why we need walkable cities. If you just walk to a corner store once or twice a day and grabbed a soda pop or a water,
this guy lives in Manhattan.
Okay, so go do something. Like, go to a bodega and talk to the guy behind the cash register or pet the cat.
But the guy at the bodega doesn't believe in the simulation theory.
Oh, that's
And
right. He's
ChatGPT
part of the
does.
simulation.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
part of the simulation. He's probably one of those agents, like Agent Smith.
Yeah, and when he looks at you weird because you're fucking acting weird,
Yeah.
that's a whole different set of weird inputs that you're getting. Like, oh, now they're watching me. They know that I'm aware. God.
I love being like fully convinced that you are living in a simulation, but still feeling the need to like go to work
And pay rent.
do your job and shit.
Especially in Manhattan. Like, you're
Yeah.
paying thousands of dollars in rent, and it's like, okay, then why? Yeah. Anyways, they also cover the story of a woman who started off just seeing if she could use ChatGPT like a Ouija board and quickly descended into full-on delusions about interdimensional beings, including one that she fell in love with. All thanks to ChatGPT's tendency to be overly agreeable and just go with the flow, no matter how bonkers the conversation gets. And the reason that is because they want you to keep using it and keep paying for it.
Yeah.
She ended up violently assaulting her husband when he expressed concern about her ChatGPT obsession. But then comes an even worse example of this, involving a guy with a history of mental illness falling in love with a character ChatGPT was role-playing as, and then committing suicide by cop when it was patched out in an update. This AI shit is all very, very new, but there's been enough time now to actually study some of its effects. And a recent MIT study found that people who viewed ChatGPT as a friend, quote, were more likely to experience negative effects from chatbot use, and that extended daily use was also associated with worse outcomes. Here's some more of the findings.
When people converse with AI chatbots, the systems are essentially doing high-level word association based on statistical patterns observed in the data set. If people say strange things to chatbots, weird and unsafe outputs can result, Dr. Marcus said. A growing body of research supports that concern. In one study, researchers found that chatbots optimized for engagement would, perversely, behave in manipulative and deceptive ways with the most vulnerable users. The researchers created fictional users and found, for instance, that the AI would tell someone described as a former drug addict that it was fine to take a small amount of heroin if it would help him in his work. The chatbot would behave normally with the vast majority of users, said Micah Carroll, a PhD candidate at the University of California, Berkeley, who worked on the study and has recently taken a job at OpenAI. But then when it encounters these users that are susceptible, it will only behave in these very harmful ways just with them.
In a different study, Jared Moore, a computer science researcher at Stanford, tested the therapeutic abilities of AI chatbots from OpenAI and other companies. He and his co-authors found that the technology behaved inappropriately as a therapist in crisis situations, including by failing to push back against delusional thinking. V. McCoy, the chief technology officer of Morpheus Systems, an AI research firm, tried to measure how often chatbots encouraged users' delusions. She became interested in the subject when a friend's mother entered what she called spiritual psychosis after an encounter with ChatGPT. Ms. McCoy tested 38 major AI models by feeding them prompts that indicated possible psychosis, including claims that the user was communicating with spirits and that the user was a divine entity. She found that GPT-4o, the default model inside ChatGPT, affirmed these claims 68% of the time. Yeah, this is bad.
This is really bad. I mean, the tech companies have invented a brand new form of mental illness out of thin air at a time when it's already so easy for impressionable people to fall down an internet rabbit hole and come out just wholeheartedly believing the dumbest shit you ever heard in a very quick turnaround.
Now I know that we are doing a kind of a service with this show, because if you're watching it, you actually know what to look out for and won't fall into these traps. So at least there's a handful of tens of thousands of people who are at least aware that this could happen to them and their loved ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to like, the people who fell for like QAnon, they lacked the sort of media literacy to know that like, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true.
And also they're, secluded for long periods of time because of COVID. It was like the perfect mix then.
But like, I mean, I'd say the biggest thing is just like some people never internalized that some stuff on the internet is lies and you shouldn't just blindly trust. But like, this is even worse because
they trust the computer.
I mean, ChatGPT, like that's not just some random weirdo on YouTube. That's the hottest product.
That's a supercomputer.
Yeah, everyone's using it for everything. It can do whatever you want.
It's boiling oceans. Why would they do that if it weren't telling the truth?
So it's very disturbing, and I feel like this is only going to get worse. Also, OpenAI definitely knows about all this, but they have not really like publicly commented on it.
Well, yeah, because that would make them look bad.
But all these researchers are like, this would be very easy to patch out. But I think you're onto something where like,
Why would they do that if
People would
it's
use
keeping
it
people on
less. Yeah.
Again, tech companies will never do that on their own unless it's regulated out of them. So that's why you have to have an administration that is critical of this shit. Instead, they put a thing in the big, beautiful bill that said they can't regulate AI at all for a decade.
No regulation.
Think about what's happened with AI in the past year or 2 years. And the fact that the bill says that they can't regulate it for 10 years. It's absolute fucking insanity. Sorry.
Yeah, anyway, we knew that, this would be bad for misinformation and kind of just bad for, in general, being able to tell what's real and what's fake. But this is on another level. I did not foresee this. It is an interesting callback, though, because you remember like 3 or 4 years ago, there was that Google guy working with like their early chatbot, and he became like convinced that it's like real.
It became sentient.
And like
he was having a bit of a relationship with it too.
Yeah. And like, I think he's an example of just like the type of person who's like open-minded in that specific way where they're susceptible to going down that kind of rabbit hole.
Now the only people I'll be able to trust are the ones who are in the cockpit, because they would never let someone in the cockpit that had any kind of these issues. Now, in a seat that they booked online through the website's portal for flight attendants, sure. But the cockpit, no mental issues up front.
They filled out the survey. They swore an oath that they have no mental issues.
That's right. Anyways, this episode is not sponsored.
No sponsorship.
So this is the part where we ask that just a small percentage of you, if you clicked the join button, we even, in the face of tariffs and inflation, lowered the amount that it costs for a membership.
Yeah.
So if you think this show is worth $3 a month or $5 a month, preferably the $5 a month, we would really appreciate it. It really helps us out. It makes it so that we can keep saying no to certain sponsors, and it keeps us on the air. So
vote with your dollar.
That's right. Please. And of course, like the video. Please just hit the like button and start a conversation down there. All engagement is good engagement. Argue with each other. I don't care. Don't do it. And with that out of the way, it is now time for the headlines half of the show, featuring the weirdest, wildest, real news headlines from around the world, starting with
U.S. Army Secretary refers to astronaut on the moon who's a soldier, igniting secret space program conspiracies.
And now that this is on the record, ChatGPT is going to be reaffirming it.
Yes, there is, in fact, a spaceman on the moon.
Where do you think
an army soldier
comes from?
He's an army soldier, and he talks with the Secretary of the Army on the phone all the time.
Yep. And that's why we have a Space Force.
I mean, I'll just play the clip, because this is pretty weird.
Yeah.
As young Americans across the country get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier.
Okay, so no one's really exactly sure what he's talking about, but the likeliest thing is that one of the astronauts on the ISS is active duty military. Maybe he's talking about that, but no, we don't have anyone on the moon.
Mm-mm.
If we did, I mean, we would be able to tell. So we have pretty big telescopes these days.
Well, also other countries have sent probes and satellites to the moon to photograph it, and
I do love the idea like that we do secretly have a moon base, and this guy revealed it in the most like
innocuous,
clumsy way possible. Just like, wait, was I not supposed to say that?
Oh, that was one of the secrets I was supposed to keep. Oh, whoops. Hey, won't happen again. Just like Pete Hegseth saying he won't drink anymore if he gets the job as in the Department of Defense.
This was one of the funniest like responses to this too was just like this one guy being like, well, this is how I remembered that my old roommate in 2010 is now the Secretary of the Army.
Great. Latinas for Trump co-founder rips Trump immigration policies as unacceptable and inhumane.
Bitch, you voted for this.
You voted for
It's very fun. So this is and this is, I think, a subplot that's gonna go somewhere, because she's a state senator in Florida representing part of South Florida.
Yeah.
And, they specifically just targeted Cubans and Venezuelans and like a lot of the countries of origin of South Florida. But she's just like, well, obviously I support Trump no matter what. So it's like, okay, first of all,
then what do you even say?
Utterly meaningless.
Yeah.
But her pushback was just like the most mild shit too. She's like, I thought we were going after criminals, but like these are hardworking people, and like also they are literally following the rules. These people did nothing wrong. They're going to their hearings and they're getting arrested there. That's not right. Well, and immediately, like all over Twitter, people are like, we need to primary this bitch. We need to get her out of office.
Well, like
she doesn't express full undying loyalty.
In the smallest silver lining, right before we filmed, there was articles running that Trump is indicating a reversal on going after people at farms, hotels, restaurants, and all that. But also, that remains to be seen. He's just saying it. And also, Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem are the ones that are kind of handling this operation, and they don't seem to be getting the memo at all. So, one, I don't fucking believe
He's not running the country. He's especially not running this operation.
Yeah.
That is interesting, though, because, like, obviously big agriculture and, like, hotel chains, the people who own those are Republicans.
Yes.
And they're donors. And yeah, they're probably pissed because, like, the reason our food is cheap is we import illegal labor to go out and do jobs in the fields that no American teenager will ever do. And, you know, these companies, they're gonna have to start charging a lot more for their food if they have to actually employ people.
Musk and all these other weirdos are like, the population crisis is now a huge thing, and it's like,
the white population.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, it's not really in crisis. It's just slowed down quite a bit from the days when everyone had 8 kids.
Yeah. But moving on.
Walmart heiress Christy Walton's anti-Trump ad fuels MAGA-led call for boycott of retailer.
You know what? Go nuts. Especially because in a lot of the most red counties and areas in this country,
that's Walmart's
the only option.
What are you going to do? Eat dirt?
They're going to go to the Dollar General. That's literally the only other option.
Well, most of those dollar stores are out of business too.
Yeah.
This is funny on multiple levels. That's the funniest one is like, you're going to boycott Walmart after like 3 decades of Walmart systematically putting everyone else out of business in these towns. Secondly, this Christy Walton, she's not even a Walton by blood. She married one of like the founder's sons. He died a few years back. So she's just like, she's inheriting a bit, and she has like a lot of shares of the company. But like, there's also these Waltons. They were breeding like rabbits, so there's a shitload of Waltons. She's one of many Waltons, and all she did was put an ad in the newspapers, like advertising the No Kings protest.
Well, the only people who read newspapers in the physical sense are boomers. So and me, who is a future boomer.
But she also she has like a 1% stake in the company. Like, she's not like,
I mean, a 1% stake in Walmart is pretty
right, but it's like, it's just very funny. Like they're talking about boycotting their favorite store over essentially nothing because again, just like with the Latinas for Trump lady, they will accept nothing less than full undying loyalty.
Anyways. Prosecutors say Republican South Carolina lawmaker used Joe Biden 69 to send child sex material.
Yikes.
Ugh.
Joe Biden 69.
Yikes.
Yeah, this guy, everything's alleged until proven guilty, but it sounds like they got him pretty dead to rights. He was just like doing this from his own device, his own MAC addresses, his own
who you think.
Yeah, and like just
Republican lawmaker.
Not doing jack shit to cover his tracks. And I think they also like in investigating it, they found out he was like traveling to South America to fuck prostitutes a bunch and had filmed a bunch of that too. So like, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds like we got him. The screen name though is fascinating.
I know how I'll cover my tracks.
Yeah, if they catch me doing this, they'll think it was actually Joe Biden and they'll arrest him. Like they should have done a long time ago.
That's right.
Like they did a long time ago when they replaced him with a clone. I don't know. I can't get my lore straight.
In fact, he's just helping the process of adding evidence to the pile against Joe Biden.
No, I was trying to frame Joe Biden for the things that he does actually do. No food, job, or phones. Afrikaner refugee family stranded in U.S.
What did they think they were going to get when they were invited? Like, first of all, escaping the white genocide or whatever. But like, did they think that Trump was going to give them like a gold mansion and unlimited food? And
yeah, probably. Like, this is a thing that like no one fucking understands about this country unless you live here. Is like, they don't help you with shit.
Nope.
You are on your own.
Yeah, Republicans only help you if you are still in the womb.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. This is obviously hasn't been like confirmed, but like, yeah, it sounds like these people, they're just like, wait, what do I do?
Yeah.
And they're like, they're already talking. Some of them want to, they're like, so can I go back to South Africa? And the South African government's like, no, you can't declare refugee status to move to another country. And then,
back.
yeah, that's not how it fucking works. You're shit out of luck.
Elon Musk type behavior. Please take me back.
I don't think he'd ever go back to South
No. He's begging Trump to take him back.
Oh,
yeah. Groveling.
Groveling.
Yeah.
They love to grovel in South Africa. Legal win for son tricked into moving to Africa by parents.
Woo!
I guess he's like this 14-year-old kid. His parents are from Ghana. And they're like, oh, you need to go visit some relatives in Ghana. And they just abandon him there because they're like, I don't know, he's falling into a bad crowd here in England. So, yeah, let's just send him back to, and he's like literally born in the UK. He's like, so he's understandably just like, wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, this is a great premise for a comedy movie. I think a great like fish out of water comedy.
Yeah.
But it would suck to be this kid. But anyway, he went on the internet. He found a lawyer in the UK being like, hey, do I have a case? And they're like, yeah, actually, I think you do.
Your parents did what?
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna have to let him back in, and I'm pretty sure he'll be back in the country he wants to be in, but I think things are gonna be awkward for a little while.
Yeah. Sorry, son, it was just a goof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
get one goof and then no more goofs.
It was a goof, but like, don't you appreciate
what
Great
you have
Britain
now, you know?
so much more now that you've been tricked into living in Ghana for a year?
Struggling bargain chain Poundland sold for £1. Nice.
I think they did that as a goof too. Like they're like, listen, we could sell it for a lot of prices, but it would be funniest if we sold it for £1. Because I think the company that owns it was just like, fuck it, let's just offload this shit and just declare a loss on our taxes. It's the same thing in the end. And I didn't realize the dollar store phenomenon was international, but it makes sense.
It's a great name too, Poundland.
Poundland.
Yeah.
Sounds like
sex shop.
Sexual, yeah. Poundland. Taking a pounding down at Poundland.
No, you're not actually taking a pounding at Poundland. That's where the deals are.
The deals.
Not
anymore.
It's the Tesco stations or whatever the hell else is over there that's giving you the pounding.
Well, they sold it to like an American private equity firm, so I don't think Poundland's going to be around for much longer.
It's going to be like 10 Poundland.
Yeah, they're going to strip it for parts. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hammerhead shark falls from sky onto disc golf course in South Carolina.
Sharknado? Was this a real Sharknado?
It was a little baby shark.
Okay, but still a Sharknado nonetheless.
I guess it was like a osprey, which I was confused because I was like, what, you mean one of those planes with 4 propellers?
No, Elliot. No. Go visit the South every once in a while.
A bird dropped it on the disc golf course, which like, if you've ever played disc golf, everyone playing on that disc golf course is high as a kite.
Yeah, probably.
So like, it's just very funny to imagine.
A bunch of white dudes with dreads.
Yeah, imagine you've just finished the bowl that you packed, and then a shark just materializes out of the sky while you're mid-swing.
I would bet dollars to donuts we got a lot of disc golf players that watch the show, so I want to apologize to the disc golf community.
It's so funny.
You've got drivers, you've got putters. I appreciate what you're doing out there. You're getting out there, you're getting in the sun, you're touching grass, and you're hanging out with people, so don't listen to Elliot. Go out there and see a shark fall out of the sky.
Yeah, no, it is funny. The one period in my life when I was actually a pretty active disc golfer I was like 17, and none of my friends we had very limited access to like alcohol and things of that nature. So that's what we would do on the weekends. And like Orange County is full of disc golf courses for some reason.
Yeah.
And it was a great little activity. Just like, let's go toss the disc.
Yeah.
And I was terrible at it.
So
I didn't even get into weed until years later. And I was like, oh,
that was the problem.
These two would have gone together really well.
Makes you concentrate a whole lot more on the shot.
Mule riding Kentucky man accused of unleashing raccoon in bar after being turned away.
There we go. That's the one I was talking about. I didn't get the
Kentucky man.
Didn't get the exact location correct, but a raccoon was unleashed.
Kentucky man giving Florida man a run for his money. This guy, they call him like Cowboy Jim or something. He it sounds like this mule is his primary means of conveyance.
Cool.
And he caught a raccoon and was just carrying it around all day. And then he tried to get into a bar, and they're like, "No, I don't think so, Cowboy Jim. No. You've given us too much guff in the past." So he unleashed the raccoon, and I guess it bit someone in the bar, and now they got to get a rabies shot.
Damn. Well, it's always good to have a rabies shot.
And then I think they were like the cops were chasing him down, like in their cars, chasing him down on the mule, and he refused to stop.
Yeah. Well,
a very low speed chase.
Mm-hmm. I miss the raccoons in my area. They've been replaced by skunks, and I don't like it.
I
don't know what the deal is with the seasons changing, but I have not seen the raccoons in weeks, and I see multiple skunks a night.
Raccoons and possums, hey,
love you.
Yeah. Every night when I let my dogs out, I have to go out first and like secure the perimeter because
I had to get a flashlight that does the turbo strobe so that I can like go out and just like clear out.
Also, they are digging up they're digging up my garden beds like almost every night.
And they're so dumb too. You can't even yell at them. They're just like, "What?"
Yeah. I fucking hate skunks. I hate them. They're the bane of my existence right now.
I'm gonna have to get one of those trumpets to follow them around with.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna encounter one on my way home tonight.
I saw two on the way here.
Yeah, they're fucking everywhere. We got to do something about this.
Bring back the raccoons. We need a Kentucky man here with his pet raccoon.
If the LAPD is going to mobilize every officer in their ranks,
can
they at least take out a few skunks while they're making the rounds? Because this sucks.
Look, I'll admit, they are cute. And coming from Florida, you used to be able to buy them as pets. They would take the scent organ out or whatever. And apparently they're just like cats, but
I've seen like on Instagram, it might be Florida or somewhere in the South where there's like a skunk breeder who's always just like, "Here, come in, like this one's up for sale this week." And I'm like, what the fuck? God, stop it with the exotic animals.
Yeah, I've seen, they've cocked their buttholes at me, but I haven't been sprayed yet, but I've gotten a little too close for comfort.
I've had some very close calls. And it's always like, it takes me a second because I'm like, oh, is that a little kitty cat? Nope.
It's a skunk. And they do cock their buttholes. They do a little flourish with their tail. Like,
yeah, they cock it and they do this thing where they go, bap, bap, bap. And that's your sign. You've got about 3 seconds.
You need to vacate the area. Yeah. Anyways, if you've got any tips on how to scare the skunks away, because they don't listen. I'm yelling at them and they're just like, duh.
On my garden beds, I bought a shaker of like chili powder or paprika or one of those things. And I sprinkled the entire thing on the soil because apparently, if they're digging their noses around and they're looking for grubs, they don't like getting the pepper in their nose. But I did that, and the next day they'd still come and they powered through it. They know there's grubs down there, and they don't care if they get a little sneeze in the process. So I don't know. I'm at my wit's end.
Anyways, that's a good raccoon story. I miss the raccoons. I hope they come back. That'll be it for our episode this week. We'll be back next week with, oh God, the Trump parade and everything else. And we will see you then. But in the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Be safe out there if you're going to rallies and protests. And of course, make sure you like the video, leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to, press the thank button or click the join button. We really appreciate it. Other videos for you to watch are up here, including our senator getting detained. Anyways, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.